Coming up on this episode of Outlook TV. Bannock Tea for Two-Spirit Indigenous Awareness Day.
Moulin Rouge in Halifax, a fundraiser for AIDS Coalition of Nova Scotia.
Rubbout 2023, the 30th anniversary. And much, much more. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And my name is T. We'd like to thank the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations for the honor and privilege to film this episode of Outlook TV on their traditional unceded lands.
Outlook TV is the queer news magazine show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to coast. And we're kicking it off in Vancouver at Bannock Tea.
It was an afternoon full of Indigenous Two-Spirit culture and arts.
In British Columbia last year, they had the Two-Spirit Celebration and Awareness Day, but it was online. This year, it's going to be at the Junction Pub, where there's going to be vendors, performers, and celebrations all day long of the Two-Spirit Indigenous community.
Trying to do here today is really raise the visibility of Two-Spirit people. So it's really important that we recognize and acknowledge the Two-Spirit ancestors and the trailblazers that have broken trail for us to do the work that we're doing today. And so it's our responsibility to not only be a part of that Indigenous resurgence, but to reclaim the traditional roles of Two-Spirit people and continue to lay that foundation for the baby Two-Spirits that are coming up behind us.
Really, for me, gathering is healing, and being connected and being in this space is really special, and I hope that people just enter the space feeling safe, feeling connected, and really do recognize the power and celebration that we're able to bring into the space today.
This is a really great opportunity to bring our community together and also to celebrate the people within our Indigenous community and the real magic. We've brought vendors here as well to share their art, their beading, the ribbon skirts, the artwork. They've also got just different resources for healthcare. Also, there's bannock and jam and tea and just some traditional offerings for people to come here and really feel part of a community.
You know the tune, so the words don't matter.
I think that the most important thing we recognize about being Two-Spirit is being able to have people be able to step into their authenticity and to be able to build their life in a place that makes them feel really confident of who they are and how they connect to spirit, to culture, to our ancestors, and to the real power of being Indigenous.
My connection to the Two-Spirit is I am a Two-Spirit. I am from James Smith Cree Nation in Saskatchewan from Treaty 6, and I've been doing drag here in Vancouver now for about 5 years. My drag here was born here in the city, but I've always been an artist, so it's just been like an adaptation of like what I used to do on paper to myself on my face and the things that I make like this. I'm also very crafty. I love searching on Facebook Marketplace for old white women giving up on their dreams so I can achieve mine.
From the Junction Pub, I'm David C. Jones for Outlook TV.
Let's check out some punk now with Mouth Congress.
You stole my line.
It's not your line, it's what we're doing. We're seeing some punk.
Yeah, that's really
Go
punk
with it,
of
man.
us.
Hello, Canada and beyond. They're hilarious. They're political. They're unapologetically in your face. They are the gay punk rock band called Mouth Congress, headed by Paul Bellini and Scott Thompson of Kids in the Hall fame. And tonight, they're live at the Rivoli, one of Toronto's landmark performance venues on Queen West. Let's go check it out.
Back in 1984, I rented a beatbox from Long and McQuaid, and I brought it home, and my buddy Scott Thompson came over, and we started improvising songs and went, this is lots of fun. And then we got my friend Gord Disley to join and some other people, and we started jamming in my basement. This was back in the 80s. We had so much fun. And then Kids in the Hall started. We had to put Mouth Congress away because making a television show is very time demanding. Now that we're older and retired, we have lots of time to rock and roll. Scott and I are always very countercultural. We're just old-style born rebels, you know. We just live to cause trouble. And it was hard. We never really got traction in the 80s. Now that we're older and people know us from Kids in the Hall, it's a lot easier to get an audience, which is great. My favorite song is the Gerbil song. It's pure punk rock. It's so much fun to sing. And I've never heard anyone do a song about gerbiling, which of course never happened. And it's an urban myth. I remember in the 90s, people going, oh, gay man gerbil. And I'm thinking, find me one. People who don't know anything about anal sex think that you can stick a gerbil up your ass. I dare them to try it. In the old days, we used to do shows here at the Rivoli and other places, and the footage was hysterical. I mean, it's all grainy, and it's that old video footage from the 80s. And Scott said, we should make a documentary using all of this ridiculous footage. And I thought, what a great idea. So we made a documentary, and then in order to promote the documentary, we had to do live shows. So we put the band back together again. When we were rehearsing to promote the movie, we started writing songs in Scott's living room. Yeah. Well, I think we still care about issues and personal issues, like we're always trying to deal with concepts of masculinity. And how it relates to gayness. So that's why songs like Gonna Be a Man came about. Now we're more into storytelling.
That was one rockin' gay punk rock show. Make sure to check out their documentary titled Mouth Congress and keep an eye out. Maybe they're coming to a city near you. For Outlook TV, I'm Bruno, coming to you from Toronto.
We're going to have to take a break now.
Good timing. It's freaking cold out.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
We're headed to the other coast, to Halifax, for Moulin Rouge, which was a fundraiser for the AIDS Coalition of Nova Scotia.
Hey kids, Auntie Deva back here in Halifax bringing you out to Moulin Rouge, a fun, campy, Rocky Horror-style drag show, all in support of the AIDS Coalition of Nova Scotia. Let's go get all the details with the director, Rouge Fatale.
Well, we looked at a few different musicals and a few different movies, and we decided this one had just the right amount of like actual interactive parts that we could do with. And yeah, we were really excited that we could actually afford it. Casting wasn't actually as difficult as you think. It's interesting because a lot of folks don't even understand that like we have 3 different Satines, we have 2 different Christians. So it's a lot more folks got involved in the cast than we were even hoping to, and it's just really exciting.
My name is Chris Coy. I'm the Executive Director of the AIDS Coalition of Nova Scotia, and though we're probably going to be changing that name before the year is out, so wait to hear more about that later.
This is so important because there's still that need for the queer community to have that type of a group who can help and support and be there, and like they do so much outreach and education and the whole 9 yards when it comes to AIDS and HIV awareness, and I'm just super, super excited to be able to help them and get some donations in for them.
I was a theater artist for a long time, and then I found my gender and being non-binary and kind of wanted to take my theater skills into my own hands and do roles that I've always wanted to do. I like to say that my drag style is like hyper feminine with a mustache.
I had done a number a few years ago that was very Top hat, circus centric, and from then on I was Zidler.
And what drew you to drag?
Originally it was just to expand my wardrobe, and then things exploded, and now I'm multiple characters all at once, all the time.
What could your love do for me?
If people only knew the amount of talent and fierceness that can come out of Atlantic Canada, they would be so excited and shocked to see it.
Come on out, babies. It's okay. There's drag on the East Coast.
Well, kids, there you have it. Moulin Rouge, Halifax style. Guess who I played? It was an amazing show. You should have been here. I'm Devastation for Outlook TV.
We're headed to the prairies now for Streams Flow from a River.
It's not my beautiful laundrette, but there is a laundrette in that story.
Queer and Asian-led series Streams Flow from a River is having its world debut in Canada today, and we're going to speak with the executive producer, Christopher Yip, to find out what it's all about.
You have to come home. Ba had a stroke.
The series is about a family of Chinese laundromat and liquor store owners in rural Alberta. And they've kind of lived apart. The kids have grown up and they've left the nest for about 10 years. But they come back when their father has a stroke. And while they're in town and in their childhood home for the first time in a decade, a freak snowstorm hits. And it traps them all together in the same house for the first time in a long time. And while they're there, they kind of have to figure out the events that push them all apart. So it's very much a family story. I really wanted to kind of put a spotlight on each member of the family, give them a time to shine and talk about, what brought them to this place and their part in the story.
Scares me. 蠢仔你冇用，次次嗌你做嘢你都打爛嘢，你唔係我個仔啊 ！You stupid boy！
Henry's the child who never wanted to leave until he got to the age where he discovered he was gay, and then he knew there was no space for him at home. I'm queer. I grew up queer in a very Chinese, very Christian household, and so I identify deeply with Henry's character, and I think the story talks a lot about masculinity through an Asian lens in particular, and I really wanted to talk about how men, sometimes we just want to be held, sometimes to know the comfort of touch.
Happy birthday to you. Yes, Henry.
With the series, we tried to go for a very realistic tone. Like we're having these conversations where we're talking about, how our family members have lived with lots of regret and things we haven't told each other in a long time, and finally having those conversations. But we all know that our family won't just change overnight. It's more of those little things, right? So with Henry's mom being like, you know what, I've always liked him. That's her way of saying, I approve, or I see you and it's okay. And I think that's why in the scene, Henry loosens up a little bit after. It's a bit tense, but he smiles after, yeah. I chose laundromat and liquor store, a combination of both, because I wanted to harken back to the jobs that Chinese folks could only get in the early 1900s. One note that I was really happy that we could add to the series is that we also have an Indigenous-owned Chinese restaurant. When Chinese folks came to Canada, being people of color, oftentimes their allies that they found were other Indigenous folks. So there's this history of Native and Chinese folks that goes back a long time.
Mothers. They're all the same. All right, you're good to go. Welcome to Canada.
I wanted to shine a spotlight on a regular family in Canada, so that people will, whenever you're at the laundromat next time and you see a family working there, you'll just know that they have a story too, and have a place in your heart for them. That's my hope.
You know what? Henry was right. Therapy is fun.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt in Vancouver.
It's time for us to take another break.
It is so cold out. I wish someone would centrally walk over to the thermostat and turn the thermostat up to a sensible 20 degrees Celsius, please.
Hi guys, I'm Flippy Helm and you're watching Outlook TV today.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
We've got a kinky story for you now. We're headed to Rubbout 2023. It's their 30th anniversary celebrating all things rubber and puppies.
We are at the Junction and the Pump Jack, where Vancouver Rubbout is holding its annual event. We are going to look around at what Puppy Bowl is all about today and talk to some of the organizers and participants.
Once, twice, thrice, and in the tunnel.
30th anniversary of Rubbout, and Bill Helton produced the first 12 Rubbouts starting from 1992. And then after 12 of them, I took over and I produced eight Rubbouts all the way up to the 20th anniversary, and then been helping out here and there ever since. It's become an international event. There are actually people here from Germany, from Australia, came for this event. It's all volunteer based. So the community gets behind, the businesses help to support. Rubber actually tends to skew to a younger group. Younger than the leather group. And I'm pleased to know that the new people who are taking over are very young, Rubber Muppet and Baz. So it's already happening. The next generation's taking over. 2, 1, go!
We're starting a puppy bowl right in the next couple hours here, which is really exciting. We have about 3 or 4 different activities that we're going to be putting on. We have an obstacle course that will be happening, so we'll have contestants running through this obstacle course.
And through.
When I first became a member, it could be very scary and courageous and not really sure what to expect. But I definitely encourage everyone that wants to get out there and try it. Like, you don't need gear. I have obviously a head-to-toe gear today, but that's not required at any means, as long as you think you want to be a pup and you can come to the events.
Yeah, I came from Calgary. There's nothing really for events there, so I always make the trip every year. I have a lot of fun doing this event. It's one of my favorites, and it's just good to be a part of this community and just join everybody in the fun. Just some advice for starting out in the community. My advice to them is, just have fun and take your time. Just enjoy it and take it in, take all your friends in, and just have fun. And just no rush on getting a lot of gear. Just have fun. That's my biggest piece of advice for anybody starting out in the community. So,
yeah, being the 30th anniversary, I don't know if you can see this, but I put together this book of all the different fetishes that have been shown throughout Rubbout. It's not just rubber, but for example, saran wrap, fire play, bondage. Just because it's a rubber-centric, it pretty much covers all different fetishes. So you'll be able to find your fetish at Rubbout.
Over. Once, twice, thrice.
From Vancouver Rubbout 2023, this is Albertus Roskam for Outlook TV.
And now we're going to head to David C. Jones' profile of Bill Marchant.
He gives us a perspective of what it's like to be out and proud in the entertainment industry.
If you feel like acting up, then you're a lot like our guest today. It's Bill Marchant, who is one of the best actors, writers, directors, and teachers in the city of Vancouver. He also gave me my most favorite job.
Look at his cheekbones, so high and prominent. Broad, half-circle dental palate, flattened nose, bridge and almond-shaped eyes.
As a gay actor, I've noticed many changes in the industry over the past, 50 years since I first started. But unfortunately, I don't see as much change as I would like to see. I still think that queer representation on screen is lacking in the worst way. So straight actors playing gay, gay actors playing straight, that's big talk out there right now. And in a perfect world, actors would be able to act, but we don't live in a perfect world. And as I said, there just isn't enough representation for queer actors, queer characters in the industry right now. So I feel totally comfortable playing a wide range of characters. I have no qualms about playing a straight character. But until we have representation, I do have concerns about straight actors playing gay. I don't think it's right, I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's progressive.
After a few weeks, Marlise stopped talking to the baby and started talking with it.
I pass as a straight person, so people quite often have said in the past things that were inappropriate and homophobic and offensive to me, and I had to choose whether to shut my mouth and, not create a scene, or to stand up for myself and be proud for who I am and what I represent. So yes, there has been a change in the last decade, but I still think we need a lot more change. I think people are more sensitive about just diversity in general, so people are less likely to say, sexist, homophobic, ableist comments that might be offensive to performers or just anybody around them in the community.
But she is at the clinic of her own free will, is she not?
Now you sound like the police. Don't you see? It's a cult.
One of the beautiful things that I see happening in the classroom is that students, the current generation, are less concerned about the labels and definitions that we fought so hard to express, which is a little frightening and terrifying at times, but also really exciting because I think we're giving birth to a new generation of artists who are defined in a different way than we were. It used to be boxes, and now it's fluid. So I think we have to continue to be vigilant in our fight for equality and representation. At the same time, allow the next generation to help us define what the future is going to look like.
Okay, I do not feel very good about this. My clients trust me. I really cannot reveal any of the contents of our sessions, all right?
So if you're watching TV or watching the movies, you might recognize his face because he's almost everywhere, just like the queer people. They're almost everywhere. I'm one too. I'm David C. Jones for Outlook TV.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Outlook TV, but we'll be back soon, hopefully with the spring weather.
And I'm sure you're watching us from a much warmer place. So while you're there, why don't you follow us on all our social media platforms, or better yet, consider volunteering with us.
We have fun even in the cold. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And my name is T.
Stay safe, Canada.